Good evening, everyone. This is Melissa Thomas of Florida National News coming to you with the evening news rundown for your Friday, August 21st, 2020. Hopefully, you guys are off to a great start to your weekend if you're knocking off work right now. But in the meantime, we always want to extend our invitation to anyone looking to advertise or sponsor one of our segments. We have 5 different shows to choose from here at Florida National News, and they're all simulcast on Facebook and YouTube. So if you're interested, be sure to shoot us an email at ads@floridanationalnews.com to find out more. All right, as we always get started, we like to start off with the latest COVID-19 reports globally here in the United States and in the state of Florida. So globally, the World Health Organization is reporting over 22.5 million confirmed cases and over 789,000 confirmed deaths. Here in the United States, Johns Hopkins University is reporting now 5.6 million confirmed cases and over 174,000 confirmed deaths. Here in the state of Florida, according to the Department of Health, they're reporting over 593,000 confirmed cases and over 10,000 now 200 confirmed deaths. Now, jumping into our world story, the nation of Peru, you guys have likely heard about this before, but just a quick update about what's going on there. The journalists that are in that nation have been hit the hardest in terms of the COVID-19 death toll. Dozens of journalists there have been dying. Now, the report is saying that there are at least 82 reporters that have died from the disease since March 16th of this year, when Peru imposed the lockdown because of the crisis. Between March 16th and August 17th, that is how many reporters have passed away due to COVID-19 there. Just this past Wednesday, a Catholic priest held a virtual mass at a church for 22 journalists, 19 men and 3 women, that the College of Journalists of Lima said died in the Lima area alone. So very dangerous there in terms of the death toll for COVID-19 for reporters. Now, many of them were more than 65 years old, and several of those who were listed as deceased were retired. And as you guys know, COVID-19 was initially hitting those in the older populations, considered the more vulnerable populations with possibly pre-existing conditions. So we continue to keep you guys posted on that. Now, the Peruvian toll is more than double the reported 40 deaths in journalists in the neighboring Ecuador. And there is a total of 171 journalists who have passed away due to COVID-19 in the entire Latin America region. So everybody continue to stay careful. Jumping here to the United States, a bit of good news, a bit of silver lining. There has been a progressive drop in COVID-19 cases in the southern US states, according to the director of the CDC. He said the southern US states, which were hit hardest by COVID-19, are seeing the progressive drop in cases as of Thursday. He made that announcement. And he said, hopefully by this week and next week, we will see the death rate really start to drop across the country. Now, he did warn, though, that the data from 21 US states showed that there was no drop in cases for states such as Nebraska and Oklahoma. So the Midwest, which we were reporting to you guys a couple of weeks ago, was starting to see an increase in cases. He's saying so far there hasn't been a decrease in the cases there. So we'll continue to keep you guys updated on that as well. Coming to the state of Florida, Florida is also starting to see a small decrease, a gradual drop in COVID-19 cases. As of today, Florida is seeing the lowest rate of new COVID-19 cases in the past 2 months. So this is good for the state of Florida. Now, the statewide testing positivity rate has dropped to 6.8% based on Wednesday's testing results, which were released on Thursday by the Florida Department of Health. So this is good. This is the lowest since it was 5.3% back on June 14th. So this is an improvement for the state of Florida. One of the key data points about the prevalence of the COVID-19 disease is that positivity, the percentage of people who test positive out of the total number of tests for the day's results. Now, the state's figure for new cases only, that figures for the new cases only and doesn't count the people who were previously tested positive. In South Florida, the daily positive rates were 7.28% for Broward, which is a slight increase from the previous day's 6%. It is currently 9.65% for Miami-Dade, which is a decrease, slight decrease from 9.73%. And for Palm Beach, it is currently at 5.23. So this is good. They're getting a little bit closer to the World Health Organization's baseline for safe reopening. So congrats to Palm Beach County on that. Now, the figures are a key reason that Governor Ron DeSantis had floated the idea on Wednesday that perhaps he's considering moving on to phase 2 for that particular region following the April shutdown. So a bit of good news, and now at least we know why he was floating the idea. He still didn't officially say that he's going to do that, and we'll continue to keep you guys updated where that's concerned. In the meantime, we're going to take a quick commercial break and come back with some more news stories for you.
All this time we fought side by side. We trained together. We lost together. And now, you're the only one standing in my way. It's been a while, old friend.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Evening News Rundown. In your next U.S. news story, Michigan has agreed to pay $600 million to the city of Flint due to water crisis victims that were in Flint, actually. The state of Michigan said on Thursday that it had reached a preliminary settlement to pay $600 million to the victims of the Flint water crisis, potentially closing a chapter on one of the country's worst public health crises in recent memory. You guys remember the Flint water crisis. Now, if this is approved, the deal would provide the bulk of the funds to the children impacted by the poisoning of the water in Flint and would rank as the largest settlement in the state's history, according to Attorney General Dana Nessel, which, Dana said that in a statement. Now, the settlement is a result of 18 months of talks over how to compensate the residents who were sickened by the tap water after state officials switched the city's water supply 6 years ago, which sparked the crisis in the first place. Now, Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer, who kind of inherited the crisis when she took office in 2019, she acknowledged that the agreement wouldn't solve all of the city's problems, and she vowed to keep allocating resources to ensure Flint's water was safe. Now, Governor Whitmer said, quote, "What happened in Flint should never have happened." She said, "The uncertainty and troubles that the people of Flint have endured is unconscionable. It is time for the state to do what it can." Now, the settlement is subject to approval by a federal judge in Michigan. The settlement stipulates that 79.5% of the funds will be allocated to children exposed to the water, the majority of who were under 6 at the time that the crisis hit. Now, some 18% will go to the adults to settle property damage as a result of what happened in the water crisis. Now, Corey Stern, who is a partner at Levy Konigsberg, who advocated for the victims as part of the settlement negotiations, said that the children under the age of 6, who number at about 8,500, could be paid a combined $390 million of the total settlement sum. So this is interesting. That would come out to about $45,000 per child in that group, although not all are likely to seek compensation, and those who have been most harmed would be paid about 5 times more than the others under the deal's terms. So if the settlement gains approval, it will resolve more than 100 state and federal cases, according to Nessel, the attorney. So we'll continue to keep you updated. Jumping here to the state of Florida, a bit of unfortunate news coming out of OIA. Nearly 800 workers are going to be permanently laid off from the Orlando International Airport. 782 to be exact. These are food service workers that work at the Orlando International Airport. They had been temporarily furloughed due to the COVID-19 pandemic, but unfortunately they will be permanently laid off due to the effect that COVID-19 has had on the travel industry and the loss of revenue that even the airport has suffered. In an email to the State of Florida Displaced Workers Unit, HMS Host, the company that employs the restaurant workers at OIA, said that they continue to see, quote, "an unprecedented decline in traffic in airports and on the motorways." The email says, quote, "Never in the history of aviation and the hospitality industry have we experienced such catastrophic customer traffic declines." So as a result of this, the company says those workers who were furloughed will be converted to a permanent layoff on October 15th if they have not been recalled by that point. The statement continues, "While it is our desire to see our airport and motorway traffic return and bring back all our valued associates, and while we reasonably believe that this would be possible by summer, the unfortunate reality is that it is going to take a significant period for our business to recover. So the affected jobs include crew members, cooks, cashiers, shift supervisors, and others. A bit of unfortunate news there. But stay tuned, guys. We're going to take another quick commercial break and come back with your business and sports story.
At Duke Energy, we deliver electricity and so much more, like free home energy assessments, rebates for energy-saving improvements, payment options to help you better manage your budget, and even bill credits for helping the community use less energy. So no matter what you're doing, we can help you make better energy choices every day. It's just another way we bring power to your life. How much can you save?
Welcome back, and jumping into your business story, a quick update on what's going on out in California with Uber and Lyft. You guys remember last week we were talking about how they were threatening to shut down their California operations due to a labor ruling that would require them to change the classification of their workers from independent contractors to employees. Now, the update is, so far, they've gotten a bit of a reprieve where the ruling is concerned, and they have decided to avert the shutdown of their operations in California. This is due to a reprieve from an appeals court yesterday, hours before both companies were looking to shut down operations stemming from that ruling. Now, earlier, they were looking at shutting it down, and obviously, by the end of the day, a San Francisco Superior Court issued that injunction last week, saying that the companies had to reclassify. Now, obviously, Lyft said in a statement on Thursday before the stay was issued, this is not something we wanted to do, as we know millions of Californians depend on Lyft for daily essential trips. Of course, Uber was also set out to do that, but they're going to continue. Now, California represents a substantial chunk of both companies' businesses. It accounts for 9% of Uber's worldwide rides before the pandemic hit. And of course, obviously, the quarantine and caused people to stop traveling. Now, the state is even more important to Lyft by comparison, which doesn't operate outside the US except Canada. So California accounts for 21% of Lyft's rides before the pandemic, and that figure has now dropped to 16 during the April to June time period, that second quarter time period, which was the most crucial time period in businesses as affected by COVID-19. So the unavailability of both of those services would have delivered another blow to the California economy, which is still trying to recover from COVID-19 and slowly reopening things. So we'll continue to keep you guys updated on that. The injunction was part of a lawsuit that was brought on by the state of California and city attorneys in San Francisco, Los Angeles, and San Diego, alleging that the ride-hailing giants violated Assembly Bill 5, claiming they, quote, exploited hundreds of thousands of California workers by classifying their drivers as independent contractors instead of employees. So you heard Angel Perry and I talk about this last Wednesday, I believe. And in her opinion, she was saying, hey, they can go ahead and leave if they want to, because employees are important and people's pay is important. So we'll continue to keep that conversation going. And you can keep the conversation going as well in the comments below. Let us know what your thoughts are with regards to that decision. Now, jumping into our sports story, you guys have heard me mention several different MLB teams that have had to postpone their games due to COVID-19 cases appearing on their teams. Well, the Mets are next. They are the next team to postpone their games due to COVID-19 testing. They received 2 positive tests of COVID-19 in their organization yesterday, according to the MLB, which prompted the postponement of 2 games. The finale for the Mets 4-game series in Miami was called off an hour before it was scheduled to start. So for any fans that were waiting for that, obviously they didn't get to enjoy their game. Today's game between the Mets and the New York Yankees at Citi Field was also postponed to allow for additional testing and contact tracing to be conducted. So far, the major MLB has postponed 34 games this season because of testing. So the Mets plan to fly to New York on Thursday night and conduct testing for the entire traveling party, which is what's going on right now. Remaining in Miami were the 2 members of the organization who tested positive, along with those known to have had close contact with them. So you guys are going to likely hear this in a little bit more detail when Casey comes on with the FNN Sports Take tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern. In the meantime, we're going to take one last commercial break and wrap up with the entertainment story. Stay tuned.
At Taco John's, you can expect one thing: so good. as in quality ingredients, used in tacos and burritos made just for you. Every single bite.
So good.
Expect nothing less at Taco John's.
All right, welcome back as we wrap up with our entertainment story for your Friday. The Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade will go on as scheduled, just a little bit differently. Much as they had to modify their 4th of July fireworks spectacular, they're modifying their Thanksgiving Day spectacular as well, just a little bit, just based on the COVID-19 measures that are going to be necessary. But they said, quote, following our successful, safe, and innovative production of Macy's 4th of July fireworks, it is our intention to similarly reimagine Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade this November. So New York Mayor Bill de Blasio hinted at some of the changes that might be instituted this year at a press conference yesterday. He said he thinks some things are going to be virtual. There are going to be some small in-person pieces. Pieces are going to be spread out. He said it's not going to look at all, of course, like what we're used to, but the important thing is that the traditions will be kept in some way. So, of course, New York being the epicenter at one point for the COVID-19 outbreak, thankfully has reduced its number of cases. So we'll see how that unfolds. For those of you who are a huge fan of the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, it'll be interesting to see how they add the virtual elements and the smaller in-person elements into it. But congratulations to New York to be able to at least put the event on still, as opposed to canceling it altogether. But that does it here for us at the Evening News Rundown, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you haven't yet, be sure to like, follow, and subscribe. You'll find us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Just find the Florida National News. And on YouTube, also remember to click that little bell icon so you get the notifications for all of our shows. And again, for anyone looking to advertise on any of our shows or sponsor any of our shows, just shoot us an email at ads@floridanationalnews.com to find out more. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Have a great rest of your Friday and a great weekend. I'll see you back here on Monday.